moderator for this session. Today's topic, we'll be talking about the future is not for sale. Institutional reforms critical to establish a tradition and culture of accountability and peaceful community development. I believe that we are all gathered here because we are actively participating in nation building. We want peace, unity, and to ensure security in Nigeria. The panelists that we have here seated today are amazing professionals in their various fields, and they will be helping us in dissecting the topic that we have at hand. First of all, I'd like to, introduce why we have chosen this topic today. We hear a lot of names in Nigeria from the tech space, entrepreneurs doing amazing things, people in the entertainment and arts industry, like the musicians, the actors and the actresses, doing fantastic jobs in their space. But when it comes to nation building, when it comes to governance, when it comes to politics, we do not hear of big names or young people who are representing Nigeria in the global space. We're all aware that in the Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration, we have Nigerians in diaspora who are fully represented in the politics and governance. Why don't we have that here in Nigeria? This is what we're going to be talking about today. Welcome again, my distinguished panelists. So I'll go straight into the question, but before I start, you would introduce yourself, and I'd like to say everyone 7 minutes each to talk about the question that I will be asking you. So I'll start with Mr. Makinde.
All right. Good afternoon, Frida, and thanks for having me as one of the panelists on this discussion. My name is Makinde Araoye. I'm the Special Advisor on Federal Matters to Governor Fayemi of Ekiti State. The topic is actually heavily loaded. The future is not for sale. Well, if we look into the political habitation in Nigeria today, we'll find out that the political space is actually heavily monetized. In advanced countries, in modernized countries, we'll find out that there is always a budget cap. There are also laws which restrict the monetization of elections in advanced countries. And for us as a country to be able to move forward, I think these laws actually have to be forced. In Nigeria, there are definitely those laws. There are the electoral laws. It is unlawful for you to buy votes. But if you look into 95% of elections in Nigeria, election vote buying actually happens. So how do we stop this? You are not voting for the person that you collected money from because of what he can do for your environment, for your society, for the country. You're actually voting for that person because of the monetary gains that you've gotten for the person, which is very, very unlawful. So I think as a country, for us to be able to move forward, we need to be able to put together laws and also be able to enforce the monetization of elections in Nigeria. When you collect money from someone and the person tells you, vote for me and I'll pay you 2,000 naira, that is you selling your future, and that is you actually messing up the electoral process. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll go over here. So can please introduce yourself and your idea of the topic.
Thank you very much. I am Honorable Simeon Toluwani Borokini, the whip of Ondo State House of Assembly and the member representing Akure South Constituency 1, the vice chair for African Young Parliamentarians Network with the headquarters in Kenya representing Nigeria. For me, we have had a lot of conversations today. I've expressed their opinions, and a lot of things have been running through my mind since I came, which is the fact that I come from a state where the conversations we are having today are already becoming a reality for us. Out of 10 delegates from Ondo State, we have the first youngest Chief Press Secretary to Mr. Governor, who is on our team here, who is 35 years of age. The first time we are having a very young person occupy that position. Currently in the Ondo State House of Assembly, we have a crop of young honorable members, and I'm one of the two youngest as the House is constituted today. For the first time, we are having a very young youth leader in our party. The person who is the immediate predecessor, I'm sure, was close to about 50 years of age. And today we have somebody who is in his mid-30s, who is a bit, above 30. And these are realities, and they're all here with us. The question for me is that we must begin to change our paradigm. Our narrative has changed in the past 1 year, which, of course, has given birth to a program like this. But beyond that, beyond words, how do we begin to put action into the things we're discussing? Hope we don't leave this conference with a lot of other rhetorics. Hope we begin not only to think outside the box, but think like there is no box at all. For young people, monetization of elections is going to continually be a challenge. Earlier today, the Honorable Minister suggested cooperative funds or something for aspiring politicians. Like if 10, 50 of you want to aspire for the same position or similar positions, come and put money together, and probably some people support others. But practically speaking, I hope we can begin to cooperate and support each other as young people. For someone who is in an elective position, who is holding an elective position today, I can tell you that most of the time, the biggest criticisms we face are from our peer groups. And sometimes they are not constructive criticisms. It's because somebody is just beefing you, somebody is just angry at you for not that you're not representing them well, but because you have not attended to a personal need, which are challenges we'll continue to face. But the institutions of government are largely flawed as we see them. But reforms will continually be advocated for. And we must begin to see, Honorable Aroye mentioned something about our electoral reforms. We must not just have all these laws. I'm a legislator. A lot of things are happening. We have a lot of laws, but how much are they being followed? Thank you.
Just proceed. I'd like him to hold that thought so that we can take Mr. Gbenga, introduce yourself and share your insights on the topic.
Thank you very much. Today say Madam Moderator and to my co-panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm disappointed that this is the last session and probably the most important. When you say the future is not for sale, Nigerian Youth Council, this is about you, not about me. But you don't give a toss, and that's part of the problem. I'm not having a go at you, But what I'm saying is, when we were growing up, they said if somebody else is speaking and you're talking, it's rude. And that's part of the culture that we need to change. Please, for 2 minutes, let me have your attention. Now, don't need to be here. The honest truth. If God said, I will live 20 years, I've passed it. If God said, I will live 40 years, I've passed it. If God says, I'll grant you 100, I'm almost there. But the future is not for sale. In 1980s, there was an advert on the televisions that said, Andrew, checking out. Andrew, checking out. I don't know how many people in this room know about it. NYSC, with your back to me. NYSC with your back to me. I don't know how many know it. Some of us checked out. And all I keep hearing from the Nigerian youth today is that I want to check out. Let me go to Mauritania or Mogadishu or Gwagwalada. That's not outside Nigeria, that's inside Nigeria. Let me go anywhere. You know why? Because Nigeria's future is up for sale. There's nowhere the youth are going. I have been here since Saturday night for this conference. Just listening and listening and listening. What have the youth provided on this platform to say that the future is not for sale? If we have not done it in politics, governance, and administration, now is the time for you guys to talk. I hope that Madam Moderator will give ample opportunity, because at the end of the day, this conference cannot write a script for you. You have to write it for yourselves. I'm not a youth, but I am a youth. If I'm in Abuja on Saturday, you'll see me at Millennium Park. I don't miss it. 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 2 hours. I'm youth at heart. But the future belongs to the youth. And this conference is about, what do you want? How do you want it? How do you want to get there? That's what I want to hear from you in this session. If we haven't heard it before now, let us hear it now. Because I have no business being here. But I only want to energize you to make sure that this session is complete. So introducing the topic is politics, governance, administration. The youth are not involved. That's the honest truth. For various reasons. We know the reasons. Don't talk about the reasons. We already know. But how will you guys get into that space? That's what I want to hear from you. And I assure you, we will sit on the minister's neck to make sure it is actualized. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Gbenga Kimoyo. All right, so I'll go back to Mr. Makinde. When you talked earlier, you talked about selling votes, individuals selling their votes to politicians. And today we're actually talking about institutional reforms in Nigeria. Now, we know that the people who sell their votes, because they are actually not enlightened enough, well, let's not even go there. You know, to the grassroots level, we have vulnerable Nigerians, vulnerable young people, unaware about politics, unaware about their role in governance. They do not have the idea that says, my votes will count in nation building. How do we bring them on board to become part of this governance, to become part or key players in politics? So we're talking about selling your votes. We don't let them sell their votes anymore. And then we can have more accountable people in offices.
Well, we have a very divisive political system in Nigeria. We have a political system that is not based on ideologies, just based on who could get there through whichever corrupt means. I think we need a lot of education and enforcement in Nigeria. The journey of 1,000 miles does not, you can't get there overnight. We need to educate people about the basics of politics and governance. There are a lot of people that don't even understand why they are trying to be a part of governance. People think that the fastest way for you to get rich, the fastest way for you to get money is to be in government. You will be very, very disappointed if I tell you how much I earn, my salary a month. But people don't understand that. People think once you're a part of government, then you become a millionaire automatically. And that's where the thinking of youth and young people, that thinking has to be corrected, that public service is actually a service to humanity and not the quickest way to get rich. So that's why people are actually always very desperate and they go through unethical methods to get into public service. They go and kill and maim, they fight because they don't understand that this is actually a means of serving the people. So how do we correct this? I think the basic education has to start from school, from primary school, elementary school, college. I think the institution of education, they have a key role to play, educating people from a very, very young age what governance is all about. Governance is not the quickest way to make money. It is service to humanity. The government also has its role to play, which is enforcing the laws. I know we've read in many instances where the security apparatus is not enough to enforce laws. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges the government has. The government is short of funds, the government is short of revenue, and the government cannot recruit enough enforcers of the law. So where there's meant to be about 5 or 6 law enforcers at a polling unit or in a polling district, you find out that we only have one security apparatus, and that's not enough to enforce the law. The law is already there. Vote buying is an unlawful process, and if you do, you should actually go to jail. And one of the issues we also have in Nigeria is that the lawful process is not really being followed to the end. If you arrest someone, they have to be able to pay for the acts that they've committed. You can't arrest someone for buying votes and you release them the next day. They have to face the law, which is that it's quite unlawful for you to be selling votes. So, and as parents also, I think we as individuals, if we already have it imbibed in us, that selling our votes is also selling our future, we also have to be able to educate the people around us and make them understand the implication of what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I would ask my next question. And this is in light of, we're talking about institutional reforms, and a lot of people, the general narrative of politics is that you must have a godfather. Am I right? If you want to be in politics, you must have a godfather, right? Someone who controls and calls the shots. How do we eradicate that in governance to ensure that we have young people who we can hold accountable to say there's no godfatherism, there's nobody reporting to anybody here. It's me and the people.
Thank you very much. Godfatherism in politics, in the current Nigerian context, except we want to deceive ourselves, it has a place as politics is being practiced today. But can it be eradicated? It's a matter of time. However, I personally do not subscribe to godfatherism. I believe in mentorship. So why not get a mentor and let the mentor tutor you aright? Most of the time, the challenge we have is that young people want to be part of politics, wants to win elections overnight, but we are not ready to learn the rudiments of politics and politics. Politics and politicking needs to be learned. If you do not learn it, if you jump at it, you will jump out or you could get drowned. It's like swimming. You must learn the art and the art of swimming before you jump into a swimming pool. So for me, godfatherism is something that has brought us to where we are today. But social media, on the other hand, has given voices to young people. Social media is our own godfather. Young people are speaking to you. Social media is our own godfather, is the voice we have. A godfather is somebody who speaks for you. So how do you now use social media properly, constructively in engaging governance? Most of our politicians, or most of us, most of honorable members like myself, we are on social media. Governors are on social media. You could engage their handles. You could mention them. You could tag them at the post. You could slide into their DM. So the social media becomes the voice for us. What people used godfatherism for back in the days was to get a voice where they could not speak. But today, social media does that. Then for me, the thing that matters the most is that you must learn to master a skill. There is no government that will form without using skill sets available at its disposal. Today, our brother and friend Honorable Araoye is here, who is skillful and resourceful to the governor of Ekiti State. Our Chief Press Secretary, CPS from Ondo State, Mr. Richard Olabode is around, who is skillful and resourceful to the governor. So the governor would, when the governor wins an election, probably during the campaigns, he has started looking out for people who have skills that will be needed in his government. So why not let us build our skills, use social media to amplify those skills. Everybody may not get a share at the table, but one step at a time. Power, they say, is not served a la carte. So one step at a time, your skill opens door for you. The gift of a man will make way for him. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question will be directed to Mr. Gbenga Akimoyo. Earlier, you charged us, young people, to take responsibility. But how do we take responsibility when we are not even carried along in the system of operations in government? We are kept in the dark. They don't show us the behind the scenes of what happens. We hear of an initiative today that requires 1,000 beneficiaries. How do we know that this 1,000 beneficiaries is not taken to one particular local government where maybe a governor has his cousins, his family members, or it is not based on tribe, or it is not based on religion? What initiative or what reform can we put together to transform that and tackle this?
Thank you very much, Madam Moderator. I don't know if the people can hear me when I'm sitting down because I'm a lawyer and lawyers don't sit down to talk. Pardon me. Your question is, how can you get into the space? You are already in the space. Stop giving excuses. I said to you, I've been here since this conference started on Monday. Youth have an opportunity to speak to the whole world, to give their ideas, where they want to go, how they want to get there. Tell us. We're not writing a script. Someone said the Nigerian system is monetized when it comes to elections. It's only monetized if you take the money. Former this, former that, former that. I'm one of the former. If I start tomorrow, we haven't finished. I've contested House of Reps in this country twice for my constituency. They said I should bring money. I said I will not. I didn't win. I didn't give. They didn't take. I didn't give. They didn't take. I didn't win. So what? Godfatherism. I don't have a godfather. I don't need one. Father God is in heaven. But guess what? In the United Kingdom, where I worked as a civil servant for 13 years before I resigned, I had a godfather in the system. In the UK, guess who that godfather was? The number one man in the establishment. He said, Mr. Akimoyo is more capable and able than the position he's on. Promote him. Let your handwork speak for you. That is what you call godfatherism. Somebody doing your bidding when you're not asking him. I don't believe in godfatherism. Maybe because I went to a school that said, be thou an example. Timothy chapter 2. Be thou an example. You don't need a godfather. Only if you have an interest that you need to defend thee. Truth be told. So you are already in the space. If this conference concludes tomorrow, as it's scheduled to do, and you still have something to say, please say it. We will incorporate it. Because we need to move forward. That's the truth. My wife is calling me. Oh. Don't let everybody else outside hear. She said, what are you still doing in Nigeria? Dual citizen? Dust your passport. Get out of that place. Nigeria is not going anywhere. I said to her, hey, let me not hear that. What about those who do not have where they can go? It's true now. Some people don't have where they can go. So you and I have to, I'm counting on you. You and I have to work this thing out. Nigeria must work. Our future is not for sale. I checked. What is a youth? UN has defined a youth. African nations, African Union has defined a youth. Nigeria has defined a youth as those between the age of 15 and 25. Thank God. I have 4 children that are above 25. I'm an old man, but I'm young at heart. But the truth is, 60% of the 200 million population are between the age of 15 and 25 in this country. I read economics first degree before I read law. 60% of 200 is what? 120 million. Minimum. And you say you don't have the space. You say you don't have the voice. You don't want to use it. Who is the godfather when you have 120 million youths between 15 and 25 behind you? Use what you have. But guess what? Don't be destructive. I'm also a lawyer. I abide by the law. Somebody suggested bills. Let's have bills. Lobby the bills. But let's have action. Let's have action. Because the future is not up for compromise.
Thank you very much, sir. Use what you have and don't be destructive. So I'm going to ask a question on security, because when we're talking about nation building and peace and unity, one major factor has to be security. Am I right? We have seen cases where people are wrongfully detained. We have seen cases where how I'm dressed can automatically tag me as a criminal. We've seen cases where how I look, maybe the color of my hair, and I'm already stereotyped by that. And people are now taking laws into their hands because they no longer trust the security system in Nigeria. We're talking about institutional reforms. What can we do? How can we tackle this before it gets out of hand?
Well, I think there has to be a declaration of a breakdown in the security infrastructural system in Nigeria. We need to be factual about this. We have some real deep-rooted financial challenges that Nigeria is facing. And if we do not tackle that financial issue, we're going to keep on having all these gaps in the security system in Nigeria. Nigeria has relied so much on crude oil as a source of revenue, and now that the price of crude oil has dipped, the revenue that is coming into Nigeria has actually also gone down. So how do we educate our security officials? How do we arm our security officials? How do we educate and bring in and recruit more officials into the security system in Nigeria? That is the problem that we have. And unless the revenue challenges that Nigeria is facing is being fixed or improves, we are going to continue to have security challenges in Nigeria. And we're not just having security challenges, we're also having inter-ethnic conflicts. And all this is also as a sign of the revenue, poverty that the people are facing. When there's poverty, people are being disgruntled. When there's poverty, there's always room for clashes. So the government needs to look at areas of which to increase the revenue in Nigeria, which is exploiting other areas, other sources of revenue apart from crude oil. I know the government of President Buhari is already looking at other areas such as agriculture, but until there's an increase in revenue, we'll keep on having this gap. And when there's poverty, the people and the security officials, they'll be looking for loopholes and areas in which to make additional income. So that security man that is harassing you for wearing a short dress or for having that pink hair, he knows the law. What his conduct is actually unlawful, but what he's actually doing is how to get money off you, because his salary cannot actually feed his family. So until the welfare of these officials are improved, which indirectly is the revenue that the country accrues into the country, which they will be able to pay these security men, we are going to keep on having these challenges. Thank you.
Okay, so I want Mr. Gbenga to say something. So when Mr. Makinde was talking about, he identified the problem of revenue shortage. Now, how do we, he said these officers know the law. Well, how do we hold them accountable? How do we hold the head of the system? What accountability system can we say, this is how we are checking that our officers are well placed, our officers are well cared for, so that they can in turn look after us?
Thank you very much. I have a burning desire to respond to anything that has to do with security of our people and security, particularly of tomorrow's generation. Please, We all live in Nigeria. Hands up if you are not a citizen and resident in Nigeria. Everybody is. Hands up if you do not belong to a state, one of the 36 or FCT in Nigeria. Everybody is. Hands up if you do not belong to one of the 774 local governments of Nigeria. Everybody is. Hands up if you do not belong to a ward in each of the 774 local governments in Nigeria. Hands up. I lived in the United Kingdom for 30 years plus. You don't have this problem. Because security, like our security advisors tell us, is everybody's problem. Record it. Take a pen now and record it. When I was 12 years old, on a Sunday morning, my mom sent me to go and buy bread. 10 minutes after I got back to the house, the policeman knocked on the door. They said, your son was seen on the road pushing an abandoned vehicle. That vehicle had been abandoned for 9 months. No tires, no wheels, no engine, no key, no nothing. But a citizen looked through the window and saw 2 young juveniles pushing a car, and they called the police. It's everybody's problem. But you know, we say, give it to the security agents, give it to the policemen, give it to the people in uniform. How many of you, since the Whistleblower Act came out, have whistleblown? You only whistleblow because you want to get a financial reward. I prosecuted serious fraud in the UK for years. Most of the cases we deal with is because somebody gets on the phone and says, my neighbor does not go to work. He does not have a job and he bought a new car. How? Ibolotiri. Haba. I go to work every day. I sweat. My wife goes to work. We can't buy a new car. But my neighbor who doesn't go to work, somebody has taken security as an issue. They make a phone call to the authorities. That is a system that works. Can't we do it here? You are fairing your neighbor. Anonymous call. I'm just sensitizing you on how we can get to our El Dorado. Those places are not better than our own. But we have to have a change of culture and mentality. The guy who bought a new car that said, come and help me to bless it and wash it. You should ask him first of all, Alaye, oh my boy, Bolotishe, Balosheri, new S-Class, SEL 600, Bolotiri. If you don't want to challenge him, call the authorities. Not because you want a financial reward, because it is good for the system. Until we have a culture change, an attitudinal change, and it has to start not with me, probably not with my son and my daughters, but it has to start with the youth. Sorry, it's not youth. The youth, the 15 to 25-year-olds, because those are the ones that are probably not tainted with corruption yet. So the hope is that if we can instill it in them now, hopefully in 30 years, you and I will come back to this place and say, we had a say in getting it right. So I don't agree that it's more police enforcement agents who are not motivated. I believe it's you and I having a culture change. I know you will tell me, if we report, they won't do anything. Keep reporting. Keep reporting. Keep reporting until we see the change.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gwenga. So, do we have people in the audience that have questions Fantastic. Okay, so let me ask him a question first. So we talked about participation of young people in politics, but we see a lot of people, they want to go ahead and become presidents. They want to go ahead and become governors. How do we encourage active participation of young people from grassroots level, starting from community development projects, starting from initiatives that can help nation building?
Thank you very much. Let me stand to address this point. 2018, when I had to contest for the House of Assembly primaries in my constituency, people felt I was new in the system. Some people felt, you, this event planner, what are you looking for in politics? And for me, the journey did not start at that time. I was on Buhari Bakare campaign volunteer team in CPC in 2010. I was going to Neka House, Alausa, Ikeja. I was going for meetings at Neka House, Alausa, Ikeja, opposite Fela Shrine in Lagos since 2010. I was actively involved. It was unpopular to support CPC in Ondo State when I set out. But what I found out was that because I didn't play the party politics they were playing around me, it was difficult for a lot of people to accept me. However, I had to leverage on a lot of community activities that I have also had to do in the course of time. So every politics, they say, is local. You must start from your ward, from your unit to your ward, to your constituency, to your local government. You must be part of it. You must be part of a party, as it were. And apart from active politics in court, it goes a long way once you set out in doing community development services, in doing things, no matter how little. It might be visiting a motherless baby's home, it might be going to the needy, it might be looking at the problem and you solve it for your community. It might be sponsoring secondary school students or primary school students in your locality, which are things I have been doing. So thank God I had a record of some of the things I've done. All I needed to do at the time was to bring them on my social media and begin to showcase them to the world that I have done this, I have done that, even before I had the ambition of contesting. So most of the time, it doesn't have to start big, it can start small. Christmas is coming. When I was working here in Abuja some years back, we used to go to Nasarawa for a project we call Christmas with a Difference. We'll take pictures with those villagers in Kefi, in some other lungus in Nasarawa, 2010, 2011, 2012. We were part of that. So I did a little of that too in my constituency, and I'm thinking of doing all of that again and again. So beyond just contesting an election, politics is about touching human lives. And it must start by touching someone's life. There are people in public schools, all the amount you need to pay for their school fees may not be more than 10,000 naira. So if you start with 5 of them and you have a picture with those 5, their parents will bless you. Some people knew in the school that you have taken care of them. I pay for some WAEC fees, I pay for some JAM fees, and I support all these things. So for me, I feel in touching people's life, these things are little drops of water that will make a mighty ocean eventually. Don't just come out with posters that you want to do this. Then you now start doing other humanitarian services. Everybody will know it's because you want to contest. That is why we are seeing you do this. So let us start small. And I believe this is our season. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we'll go to questions. Okay, I see a lot of hands. Wow. Okay, so I'll start from the first row here. The orange t-shirts, the orange shirts, polo shirts.
Thank you, panelists and our moderator. I just want to add voices to how the workable plan of ensuring that people coming into politics and governance for youth. I want to please encourage Nigerian youth here that it is very, very important that we get to register for the voter card, and after registration we get to come out to vote, because we find out that the problem we're facing is that after registration youths don't come out to vote. But if it is BBN, you see everybody voting. It doesn't matter whether it's online or not online. On the day of election, make yourself available and come out to your polling unit and defend your vote. Vote and do what? And defend your vote. That is that. Secondly, to Daddy, who was talking about whistleblowing. The truth of the matter is Nigerian youths are good people and Nigerians are good people, but the system has constrained us to complain, because whenever you blow a whistle, I can assure you that the authorities or the agencies will get to leak your information to the people that you are complaining against, and they will come for your life. So it's not as if we don't want to whistleblow, but the security of our lives is at stake, and that is why major Nigerians are not whistleblowing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the contribution. I'll take this lady here.
Good afternoon. My name is Abdul Malik Suleiman Abubakar from Gombe State. Well, my submissions are those as follows. First, it is not only the responsibilities of the youth to take charge. Those elders who are in position of powers today have a greater responsibility, because they have instigated the divide and rule. They have instigated selective justice. Not until when we put those things right, then definitely we are going nowhere. We as well will come and inherit that. Today, if you are looking for a job, the person on that desk, if you are not of his tribe or of his religion, he would put your application aside. He will only entertain that of the person he has come from the same region or the same state or the same faith with. This is the number one problem that we are having. And second, let ability talk for us, not favorism. Why I'm saying this is, today, if you don't have anybody, nobody will give you a job. And the jobs are there. They will tell you that the jobs are being advertised for you to come and submit your applications and things like that, but nobody will respond to you because you don't know anybody there, being that you are from a poor family or poor background. And thirdly, in terms of food security that we are talking about, today we have state governors in 2 or 3 years. They were able to construct as in 500 to 600 kilometers of road within their states. Why are the federal roads not constructed? How can we be able to more of like integrate to transport or cross-pollinate the produce of a particular state to that of another state? In short, in totality, this is the ability, or this is where the issue of insecurity lies. Because those that are very capable or those that are well taught, they are being denied jobs, they are being denied responsibilities, and at the end they will make use of their intellectuality to go and establish crimes or belong to groups. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The lady, please.
Good afternoon. So good afternoon once again, and thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Rafayat Atonda. I'm a member of the European Union Youth Sounding Board. Okay, so moving away from talking about the challenges, I'd like to prefer some solutions. These are my thoughts, but I believe that I'm echoing the thoughts of many others as well. So the first thing I'm going to be sharing here is I have a feedback mechanism that allows youth to share complaints and opinions. I know I talked about this earlier, but I feel it's an important point that I needed to reiterate. It's not enough for young people to share reports. We want to get the outcome of those reports. Communication is a two-way thing. The second point I have here is forge more private-public partnerships so jobs can be created. We want jobs. Also, improve the security architecture so investors can come to Nigeria. The third point I have here is reflect and reconcile with the youth. We are not your enemies, we are your friends. Please hold periodic meetings in clusters across Nigeria and act on the recommendations. This is a great platform, but you would agree with me that we have just few numbers here compared to the millions of young people in Nigeria. So in different clusters, please hold meetings. And when they advise on certain things, make sure you act on them. The next point I have here is strengthen communication. Make it empathetic, inclusive, and well digitalized. Sometimes the government does certain things and only a few persons know about these things. Efforts don't match impact because there is a communication deficiency. The fourth point that I have here is we don't want to sell our future for a token. Please and please stop weaponizing poverty. 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira will not feed us for 4 years. Stop it, we don't like this. Facilitate the creation of jobs. Empower the citizens through constant civic and economic education. We don't want to see you only when elections are coming. You're representing us for 4 years or more. So please, constantly come to your constituencies and understand what people are going through. The last but definitely not the least, if you are an elected, representative, you came to us, you promised heaven and earth, but we didn't see you again. Your office is now in Abuja, not in Lagos senatorial district that they voted for you, or in Adamawa, or in Gombe, or wherever in Nigeria. Please stop it. Deliver on your mandate. That's all we ask for. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see a lot of hands, but please hold on. Okay.
Build the youth. Build the youth. I think this is my first time I want to talk to our ladies and the entire youth of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My name is Ambassador Sukubo Sarai Igbe Sukubo, President, National Youth Council of Nigeria. Actually, the position of Youth Council has been stated in the morning, but I just want to submit one important appeal. I think our Honorable Minister for Youth and Sports Development, his essay is still seated here in this auditorium. And I know that he will communicate to the Honorable Minister. Actually, we are talking of future and what we as young people, we want. Equally, it is not giving back to us what we young people can do for the government. I'm waiting for the panelists to challenge the youth. It's okay, this is what you are deciding. Then in return, what do we as young people can do? Areas of insecurity, areas of education, areas of youth inclusiveness in governance, things that bothers young people and the nation at large. But the only thing that I want to say, I will appeal to the Honorable Minister to at least to give privilege or to extend invitation to 3 youngest governors in this country to be part and parcel of this program, at least for tomorrow event. Because why we say so, the federal government alone cannot solve our problem. And it is important we go back home with this knowledge. If not anybody, I know vividly we have 3 young governors in this country. Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, the governor of Cross River State, Ben Ayade, and the governor of Kogi State. These are young people we have identified that today they are also in the corridor of governance. they are supposed to sit seated in this hall with us. There are some fundamental questions I reserve as a president of the National Youth Council of Nigeria. I intend to ask. And it is very, very important that when this decision that we are deciding today is being transmitted to the presidency, these governors that will come here, that will find them between the young age, can be able to also support the federal government to actualize what we are doing in this conference. So I will appeal to the Honorable Minister and the panelists, if they can convey this message to the Honorable Minister for these young people to join us tomorrow. If they are not available, they can connect them through Zoom for us to also know or ask them or let them make input in this, our National Youth Conference that we are holding, first in history of this great country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your contribution has been taken noted of. I'd like to take, there's a lady that's been waving her hands over there.
Yes, first. Hello. Good day, everybody. My name is Iweze Rose. I'm the CEO of Arus Sharon International Resource. Is it loud enough? Okay. My question goes to the Mr. Makinde. You kept talking about financial issues. You know, whose duty is it to harness all? So my question to you is that who owns the responsibility to harness and boost the economy? You know, you keep saying, talking as if you're talking to some other people. You know, we need to have a strategic to harness our resources, you know, so that we can boost the economy, so that we have more money to pay for the security. Secondly, the Ms. Moderator, yesterday you are from Edo State and you're the scale acquisition coordinator or something like that. Am I right? Yes. Okay. Because after this, I'll be coming to you because we don't even have this. I'm from Imo State, for example. All these things we're talking about here, when I travel home in my LGA, I don't feel anything like all this skill acquisition and all these, even the N Power, all these projects, all these social investment programs that the government has put in place. I can't see anybody, I can't identify anybody from my LGA that has been a beneficiary. And you see, I'm going to volunteer myself to go further and then look for, you know, how we can really, people can really benefit from that locality. Then another thing I want to say is, okay, talking about the security issues. We know that the Southeast now is in the front burner regarding security. And we know that there are a lot of youths out there that are just like idle, waiting for, you know, to be recruited by the wrong reasons. So can we use this social investment program to begin to get them involved, you know, let them get skill acquisition? And then another comment is that some of these social investment programs that the government is putting out there, I'm sorry to say that they are not sustainable. We can do something that is sustainable that will keep these youths, you know, engaged and then productive as well. And then the last question is the National Action Plan. Can we get a copy of it? The one that was launched yesterday. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So first of all, let's hear what our panelists have to say with regards to all the things that we have gotten from the feedback we have gotten so far. So, Mr. Makinde.
Okay, Madam, I think the government of President Buhari is making conscious efforts at diversifying the economy. We have to also look back and see where we are coming from. I'm not trying to make excuses or trying to play the, blame game. But if you look at the history of Nigeria and politics and governance, you will find out that the system has been heavily corrupted and there's been a lot of mismanagement of resources. So when we had the oil boom in Nigeria, the wise thing to have done was to have saved enough money for the dry days that we're already in. But there's been a lot of mismanagement, there's been a lot of corruption. So the APC government under President Buhari just came about 6 years ago, and we are trying to undo the evil that has been done by previous leaders in this country. The main thing that can get us out of the problems that we have, the financial problems we have in Nigeria today, the main thing that can get us out is the diversification of the economy. And that's why the government is making conscious efforts, and you can see a lot of intervention programs from the CBN helping the agricultural sector in getting a lift so that we can have a lot of agricultural products that we can export and increase the revenue of the country. We can also see, and one of the reasons why we're having a National Youth Conference is also to encourage the youth. You see that in advanced countries, people tap into info technology that's being driven by the youth. And that's a sector which Nigeria actually has not yet capitalized on, and in which there's a whole lot of revenue that's been generated there. So as a country, I think there has to be a state of emergency. I think the country has to be very, very serious. I think the government has to be serious when it comes to diversification and looking for alternative ways and means of revenue. But there's a lot of sacrifice that's also going to come. I'm the special advisor on federal matters, and I know how many departments and ministries I go to looking for employment for the teeming youths. But there's something they tell me. They said they cannot employ because they don't even have the money to pay. And I agree with them, because you can't keep employing into the federal civil service and spending the money that we don't even have. So there's going to be a lot of pain that will come with the turnaround, where the country is going to have a balance in revenue generation. Thank you.
Yes, hello. Dear delegates, to my brother in the orange, whistle blowing. I said at the beginning of my statement, we do it for the wrong reasons. We want to whistle blow, not for correction. We want to whistle blow, not because we believe in the system. We want to whistle blow because federal government has said if you whistle blow and it leads to, you will get something. My brother, why do you need to whistle blow and put your name? Jesus Christ is Lord. Anonymous letter, loaded with information, facts and figures. Let the authorities deal with it. Can they trace you? Anonymous? Let's wake up. But because the federal government said if you whistle blow and it leads to, you will get millions or trillions or billions. That's on that one. So let's change our orientation. Number two, somebody raised a question about jobs. In Nigeria, we do not believe in dignity in labor. Full stop. We believe in dignity in the income that comes from the labor. I'm speaking to the youth, the educated youth of Nigeria, both here and online. We do not believe in dignity in labor. See that toilet upstairs? I went there to ease myself before I came on the stage. I held my nose like this until I finished. Guess what? In the United Kingdom, I can tell you direct, somebody takes pride in the fact that he's employed to keep that toilet clean. Because the vice president may come here and he may end up not using that one, it may be his own that he uses. What does he get at the end of the day? A pittance. But he has dignity in labor. Let me charge you, as youth of this country, ask any 15 to 25-year-old, what do you want to do tomorrow as a career? I want to play football because they're making money. I want to go to Europe. I want to play for Tottenham Hotspur, like Harry Kane. Do you have to be the footballer on the pitch? Can you not be the referee? Can you not be a football agent? There are jobs. We can't see them. Because we all want to be center stage. I went to one of the sessions over there. They were talking about Wizkid and Davido, and they said other artists are not being recognized. Do you have to be the singer? Can you not be the marketing agent for somebody who is up and coming and earn your income and feed your family? Do you have to be the person singing? We just want fame and money. We've got it wrong. Actors, we're doing well in Nollywood, but everybody wants to be on stage. My junior sister is a theater artist from Port Harcourt as far back as the early 90s. She doesn't go on stage. She's producing. She's British. She has no interest in going to the UK because she's making her money here. As a silent producer, nobody knows her on stage. Orientation, attitude. We need to think differently. Last year, I was so frustrated. I said, how will we change the leadership question in this country? And I said, lead, I follow. Lead, I follow. I'm not an IT person. But I set up a website. My dear sister who talked about accountability from the European Union. The problem with leadership in this country is that we too, they do follow. The leader is not always right. In fact, the leader is never right. It's the truth. The followership are bad. That's why you have bad leaders. But where do you channel your aggression? Where do you channel your thoughts? Where do you complain? Where do you complain so that you get feedback? So what we did in Lead and Follow? We said, we'll set up a platform, bring your complaint, bring your challenge. There is a leader who is supposed to account. Everything we blame on Buhari. If we don't blame it on Buhari, I'm from Ondo State, we blame it on Akeredolu. If you're from Lagos, you blame it on Sanwo-Olu. Abade. If you're from Akwa Ibom, you blame it on Udom. If you're from Imo, you blame it on, what's the governor's name now? There are different levels of leaders and office holders. You don't know them. So there's no light in your community. You blame Buhari, or you blame the governor. There's a local government chairman. Before the local government chairman, there is a councillor for your ward in your local government. It's his responsibility first. Before you get to the local government chairman, before you get to the state level, before you get to the senatorial, and before that, the federal constituency, before you get to blaming Buhari. I don't agree with my brother that they met problems. 6 years is a long time to dent a problem. But I don't want to play politics because we're here for national youth. Forget about political orientation. But the truth is, we need to face the reality. We've not got it right. The old ones have not got it right. Guess what? The young ones too have not got it right. Because your thinking is warped. Change your thinking. Change your thinking. So that I can come here next year for this conference and sit down and see somebody between the age of 15 and 25 in this seat. The moderator between 15 and 25. Same here, same here. It's your conference. You get it? But I am determined that you must write the script. Talk. Give us feedback. Tell us what you want and how you want to get there. And God in heaven will hear our voice. Amen.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gbenga. That was... Okay, so before I take the final comment, I'm just going to take 3 more questions. But the thing is, I'm going to take the first 3 people that will stand here. The first 3 people that really want to ask their questions. Fantastic. Okay. So the thing is, we have 5, 6 persons. I'm just going to take 1 minute. If you are not up to 1 minute and you don't have your questions ready, I will go to the next person. I will go to the next person. So please, let's go 1 minute each. Can I have the mic? Can I have the mic there, please? Thank you, sir. 1 minute each. You have all been allotted 1 minute to talk about your questions. Don't follow any protocol. Just ask your questions and let's move on.
Thank you very much. I want to add on insecurity.
Sorry, hold on. I can see some people are sneaking up. I already know the 6 persons that I counted earlier. This man with the microphone, the one with the white shirt, you, 3, 4. Please, if you are not part of them, if you are just joining, please move backwards. I'm seeing more than 6 persons there. Mr. Man, you're wearing black and you were not there before. Thank you very much. All right,
Okay.
1 minute.
I want to find out what is federal government plan on reducing insecurity, particularly in our schools. Today, you hear of kidnapping in so-so school. Tomorrow, you hear in another school. What is federal government plan to curtail this? I was thinking, my opinion, I feel we have a lot of volunteers across the nation. And if they are engaged to help gather information to the security agencies and then follow it up, it will reduce this. Again, like I mentioned before.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay, this is the last point, please. What happened to the forensic we have in the country? We have experts. A lot of monies are voted into education. Why not engage the forensic expert so that cameras and other forensic tools will be used to review the identity of some of these people kidnapping here and there? Thank you.
Next person, please.
Okay, all right, my intention is to whip us back to line of discussion. The crux of the issue here is that our future is not for sale. That topic borders on 3 things. 1, why are the youths leaving the country? 2, why are the youths not involved in politics of the country? 3, why are the youths running out of the country for greener pasture? 1, we want to be stakeholders in the governance of this country. How do you make us stakeholders? These are matters we want to discuss here. Youths are leaving the country for greener pasture. How do we make them stay here? 3, the youths no longer trust the government of the day. How do you bring back that trust? These are matters, not insecurity is not for this session. Employment. These are skeletal issues that are becoming the crux of this session. The crux of this session is we don't trust this government anymore. What is the government doing to bring our trust back? When we trust the government, that is when I can neglect a 10,000 and cast vote for my conscience. That is the point. But if I don't trust the government, I will take a 10,000 as the only thing I'm getting from that government in the next 4 years, and I take my eyes off it. And so we are saying, make us stakeholders. How do you want to make us stakeholders? As of yesterday, we had to protest here. They were going to launch an action plan at that corner, an action plan that none of the 360 delegates subscribed to.
Time is running.
And then we had to run a protest. So what I'm just trying to say is, we have serious issues that we should discuss other than this very we are doing here. The bottom line is, make us stakeholders in the running of this government. Let us determine how we are governed. More importantly, the cost of nomination forms in this country, any political party, is sky high. So as a matter of fact, the environment does not favor youth participation by all standards.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Next person, please. Thank you.
Okay. The problem is that we are not asking too much from this government. The youth of Nigeria, we are not asking too much. We are just asking for the government to create the right environment, right atmosphere. When the right environment is created, we wouldn't be needing all this empower, all this beneficial, fighting about 30,000, fighting about this and all that. When you create the right environment that empowers us to achieve our dreams, get to the height of our dreams, there will be no need to be living here. And one of our fears is that, You know, there is something about policy. You can be very strong, you can be very agile, you can do everything. But when the policy is wrong, you will want to get to at the nick of the, as in, at the edge of your dreams. You will not be able to fulfill it because a government will wake up one day and ban Twitter, which you used in doing your business, or just take one action that can just crumble everything you've worked for. So that is what we are supposed to be addressing. Please let the government think well before bringing out any policy that will kill the youth of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next.
Thank you very much. Please, mine is to appeal to my fellow Nigerian youth based on what Mr. Benga has been saying.
Yours is not a question?
It's not a question. I want to use this medium to appeal to my fellow youth to see Nigeria, our dear nation, as our own. Because what I discover in the society today is that most youth are no longer interested in what is called Nigeria. For God's sake, we don't have anywhere to go. Even if you have a dual citizen, the fact remains that you are a Nigerian. And don't forget, right from your childhood, you have been making a promise to this country that you will defend her unity. You will defend and uphold her unity. Please, let us go back to those days. We are making this promise even when we don't know what we are saying. Now we are growing up and you are now derailing from the promise. Please, continue to defend this country, my fellow youth. Continue to love this country, and by the grace of God, we will get to our promised land.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My name is Okwagono Ife Mike. I'm
Sir,
from
is
Delta
yours
State.
a question or a contribution?
I'm not asking question, but I'm just want to put an input to what they have discussed so far.
Okay.
I want to speak on the female foes. Yesterday when I attended the conference, the Minister of Women Affairs was really agitating for the female foe to be, inclusive. And since I have grown up to this stage, I have never seen or I've never attended or I've never, heard whereby the Ministry of Women Affairs organized seminars, program for the female foods. We conducted a research activity in Delta State late last year, and we found out it's all about female foods in politics. We found out that all they are thinking of is faction and design. They don't have any interest in politics. And this thing, we are here now. Those of us that we are here, we are more or less having this, initiative, this idea that there's need to be in politics. But many of them, after that, they don't have it, especially our female food. I want to suggest to the Women Affairs, especially the Honorable Minister, let her organize program for only the female food. Let them be agitated, let them be motivated so that they can come out. They're not ready to come out because we are being intimidated when they see the male food. So I'm suggesting that let them, organize program for them, only for them. Praise them.
Thank you very much. And the final.
Thank you. My name is Comrade Omar Destiny, the National Coordinator, Grassroots Awareness and Volunteers Against Organized Crime. Mine is a contribution to what is being done here today. One, in Nigeria, the Nigerian government doesn't recognize CSO, NGO, organizations. And you understand that by the time NGOs and CBO and the rest of them are inclusive into governance, it will move our economy. It will move our nation further. Because I remember in year 2001, before the Nyanya Road was dualized, accident every day. And we stood up as youths of that area and said, no, let this be stopped. We protested a little. That evening, President Olusegun Obasanjo called for an emergency meeting, and that road was dualized. Up to now, we are using that road freely. That time, you see, anytime there's an accident, 70, 80, 100, 150 people die. But because of this little agitation whatsoever, that came to be. I want to tell the Nigerian government that CSO.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So because of time, we are going to take the final answers to and final remarks from our panelists. Please, I like everyone to maximize the 3 minutes time so we can round up. I'll start with Mr.
All right, thank you very much. I want to appreciate the passion of that young man that spoke about the need to get more involved as young people and for government to recognize the place of the youth. I must say that it is important to first acknowledge and appreciate a table like this that gives us an opportunity to come to national round table to have this celebration. And like I did say earlier on, every politics is local. People have come to make certain agitations. You want things done. But the point is, what relationship have you built back home in your state with the leadership? Somebody has to probably introduce you to the leadership of your state. Probably you are not doing enough in relationship management, in getting involved in what is happening. I said earlier on, some of us have skills. Those skills are important, that they will definitely make way for us. Some of us must learn to think outside the box. Earlier on, one of the delegates from Ondo State is the musician Danny Young. He was here with us earlier on, and we were speaking just to corroborate what Mr. Gbenga said earlier on. That we were talking, and I was asking him, Danny, apart from music, what else are you doing? And he said he's into these agencies that promote footballers, and he has that done, and he's doing agriculture. And I asked which part of agriculture. He said animal husbandry, and I said I do that, and we're comparing notes together. Most of us, all we need to do is to have the right interactions, is also to have opportunities to showcase what we do. Let's make use of our social media handles properly and ensure when we have opportunities, we should not always just be confrontational for the sake of being confrontational. Let's make our submissions. Let's add our ideas. I ever came into politics fully. I remember when Governor Mimiko was governor in Ondo State, I did send a proposal to his government. And before I knew it, it was done, even though credit was not given to me. But I was glad that that idea was being done. Talked about security earlier on, as a round off. Governor Keredolu, for instance, has been agitating for Amotekun and state policing. And that is already becoming a national discourse. And I did send a message to the commandant of Amotekun in our state. I said, what if we have a fundraising for Amotekun, like a security trust fund? Guess what, sir? That bill was sent to the House of Assembly for security trust fund. It was a discussion I had. It was just a suggestion. You don't know what suggestion you would give to someone in government, and they will do it. And the day the bill was passed to law, the commandant called me and said, thank you, my brother, you gave me this idea. And today, the bill was passed to law. So please, let's give our, beyond the normal agitation that we like to do the Sorosoke, let's ensure we Sorosoke in a very constructive way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Makinde.
All right, thanks once again. I've heard a lot of conversation around youths getting involved in politics, the government's inclusion of youths when it comes to politics. I disagree a little on that note. It's more or less of saying that a medical doctor just comes up and say, oh, I want everyone in the medical field. I think as a youth, you need to first discover yourself. When you discover yourself, you would know what value you're adding or bringing to the table. Politics governance is not for everyone. What is actually politics and governance? It's making an impact. It's having a voice. It's service to humanity. You don't have to be in politics or play politics or be a part of government before you can have a voice to make an impact. Whatever you're doing, as long as you exceed and you're very good at what you're doing, you already have a voice. JJ Okocha has a voice today because he's a footballer. Mali, what was that? The Malian, what was Mali? The Malian guy? Naira Mali. Tiwa Savage. These people have, I can see somebody laughing. Yes, she still has a voice. When these people talk, there are a lot of followers that they have. People listen to what they say. That is making an impact. If we look at the government of Dr. John Kawade Fahimi in Ekiti today, we have about 60% youth. And these guys are people that actually add value to the political system and governance in Ekiti today. So if he had brought somebody out of the blues who doesn't understand, is not well educated, does not speak well, cannot represent the government or even the governor anywhere, then the person cannot even add value to the system. So as an individual, you need to educate yourself, add value, find out the areas in which you are properly skilled. If cooking is your skill, make sure you're the best when it comes to cooking so that we can create a cooking show for you. On your cooking show, you can talk about governance, talk about the areas in which there's a deficiency in government, and people will listen to you. That is how you can make an impact as a youth. There's Bayo Moborio that works with the president. Some years ago during the political campaign in Ekiti State, I used to see Bayo just jumping around from cars to cars. Bayo will climb the tree, he will take pictures. Today, Bayo has a voice. He's not an active participant in politics, but today, Bayo has been able to use his talent to drive a voice. Today, Bayo even has more money than a medical doctor in Nigeria, or even has more money than some of the special advisors and commissioners in Nigeria, because he has discovered his talent and he has been able to make a change using his talent. So forget about that notion that everybody has to be in government. It has to be an inclusive government of youths. When I employ you as a commissioner, what are you going to do? What skill are you bringing on board? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the final 2 minutes, Mr. Gwenga.
You gave the others 3, you?
No, they had 2 minutes each.
Okay. I disagreed with Mr. Makinde earlier, but I have to agree with him on this one. Politics is not for everyone. Honest truth. It's not for everyone. But we're not saying everyone should be in politics. As we sit here, there are 2 sessions going on now. One is about the soft power of sports, entertainment, and creatives. Nigerians are excelling in that field. Truth be told. Nollywood, music. When I was growing up, when I went to university in 1984, how many Nigerian artists? But today, them boku. But what I'm saying, diversify. You don't have to sing, you can promote. You don't have to promote, you can compose. Another session is going on now, talking about education, innovation, technology, youth development. We're doing well. Go across the globe. Nigerians are excelling in ICT across the globe because we're a brilliant race. But there is a deficiency when it comes to politics, governance, administration, and answering the question of security in our country. There's a deficiency of youth, and that's what the government needs to address. But the youth need to shake body. They're not going to open the door for us, so I'm part of you. Youth, I'm part of you. They no go open door for us. So we have to shake body to get in. And that shaking body is not always by agitation. Sometimes it's agitation. Sometimes it's constructive suggestions. And let me leave you with just one final testimony. In 1998, a long time ago, I was selected on a 3-man panel to design an ICT program for my department, 55,000 staff. I'm not IT. I'm a lawyer. What do I know about IT? But we designed it. We submitted it. We tested it. It went worldwide for them to get our comments. 3-man team. 2 Nigerians in that 3-man team. Today, the United Kingdom prosecutes all their serious fraud cases in the courtroom based on our 1999 model. Based on our model. 2 months after, central government in the UK said, give them £2 million. Let them go and test what they have proposed. The following week, they transferred me to another department. I did not see one shishi out of 2 million. That's not what it's about. I've done my bit. I've moved on. But the Nigerian youth must stop thinking about what am I going to get out of the effort I want to put in. 23 years later, that system is being used. I can beat my chest and say I designed it. I didn't benefit, but the nation is benefiting. Youth, what are you going to put into this conference now and tomorrow that will benefit posterity? God bless you all. Thank you for your ears.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga. We've had a fantastic session. I'm sure you'd agree with me that it was also enlightening as well. So some of the points that we will take from here at the end of this session is youth or young people should, learn to create your own track record. He talked about, doing things in your communities, doing things in your grassroots level. You don't have to wait till you get to the bigger platform for you to be able to showcase. You can start from where you are to create your record. We also urge the government to exploit other revenues to avoid gaps that are causing poverty and a lack of employment in Nigeria. We also want to have a feedback mechanism where young people can interact with policymakers and government agencies, where we can also receive answers, responses to our feedback that we give. We want to also have an improvement in the public and private partnerships that will help in creating jobs and skills for young people. We also want engagement in the grassroots level, in clusters, engagement of young people, engagements where we're taking through decision making, engagements where we're taking through the back end of how things are being formed. My apologies. And then the last one, our panelists also mentioned that as young people, you must discover yourself. You must use the talents that you have to create the change that you want. You must also use your platform that you have to create a voice that will be part of the change-making decision process in Nigeria. These are some of the important points that we're going to be taking with us as we leave this stage. Thank you so much, everyone who has shared their contributions. Thanks to everyone who shared their questions. Before we leave, I think we should just, have a group photograph.
Group photo. Yes.
Thank
you very much, our panelists. Thank you so much, our moderator, Ms. Freda Anyanwu. Thank you, our panelists, Honorable Simeon Toluwani Borokini. Thank you very much, Mr. Makinde Araoye, Special Advisor on Federal Matters to the Governor of Ekiti State. Thank you very much, Mr. Benga Akimoyo, lawyer, legal practitioner, and co-founder, Lead I Follow. Thank you very much. Let's come together for a group photo session. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much. So with this session, we've come to today's program, but we resume here tomorrow morning for the final day, for the final sessions. 9 a.m., we're back in the auditorium. Thank you to our esteemed guests and delegates. We truly appreciate your presence and contributions, and you've done wonderfully well. Thank you, and see you tomorrow. Good night, and God bless.